The latest proposal for Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway has the entire racing community up in arms, and RCR is busy recruiting its next star driver. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. In honor of Black Friday, we've got some special deals on the dailydownforce.com/shop. I've mentioned this before, but we've got a brand new Out of the Groove hoodie for sale as well. Click the top link down below. Lots of cool stuff to go check out. Now let's get to the latest racing news. Yesterday, I was enjoying my Thanksgiving dinner. I was off my phone most of the afternoon, which is rare for me. I am addicted. And I like to tell people, oh no, I'm on my phone because it's my job. I have to be on social media, listening to podcasts, reading articles. But really, 90% of the time, I'm just wasting time burning brain cells. But yesterday, I was off my phone the vast majority of the day. By the time I finally ventured on into social media, I was bombarded by post after post dunking on this Twitter or X account called Cumberland Yard. I was so confused at first. I thought this was some sort of like food company and maybe there'd been some sort of massive recall that had ruined millions of families' Thanksgiving dinners. It took me a few moments, but eventually I realized that no, this actually has to do with the famous, historic Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. To get everyone up to speed real quick, the last couple years or so, Bristol Motor Speedway, Speedway Motorsports have attempted to get approvals to lease the facility out to then renovate the facility in hopes of bringing NASCAR back to the facility. The process has been very slow, but progress is being made. Earlier this week, I believe Axios reported it first, a new group who calls themselves the Fairgrounds Preservation Partners is looking to demolish Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, replacing it with something they call Cumberland Yard. From the Axios article, the new proposal is the first in recent memory not to include NASCAR. The plan, which the group has begun pitching to city officials, calls for housing and rehearsal space for artists, a park, and a small track for electric car racing. Oh, I can hear you all groaning through the screen. Honestly, the way this reads, if they could eliminate all forms of racing from the property, they would. From what I understand, there was a vote in 2011 that now preserves racing on that site, which is why these Cumberland Yard folks are reluctantly including some sort of electric vehicle drag strip that I don't know physically even fits the space. Anyway, that's the proposal, and like I said, social media has been ablaze the past 48 hours or so. NASCAR fans began bombarding the Cumberland Yard's X account. Their original post doesn't even have replies turned on. The ratio, my goodness, I'm not sure I've ever seen a ratio quite that lopsided in all my time spent on social media. Allegedly, the account is going around blocking just about anyone who's tweeted at them or said anything negative about their plan, which is always a great sign, great way to win over the public, whose approval you need. They don't have many posts on X, but one of their posts includes this poll that supposedly shows they have the majority of support from local residents and voters. Though again, look at that ratio. Oh my goodness. I could go through the dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of quote retweets, but I'm not going to. I will say something though that may be slightly unpopular. The people who live close to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway deserve to have the loudest voices on this topic. I'm in Texas. Sure, if Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway gets renovated and NASCAR returns, I will be there in a heartbeat, but I don't live near the facility. And the vast majority of you guys watching this video or dunking on the Cumberland Yard social media account don't live anywhere near the track either. If the locals want this wacky electric drag strip artist housing development deal, go for it. Good for them. That is their right. However, and I think this is why you're seeing so much negativity on social media, the locals have already voted. A while back, the Fair Board voted 3-2 to approve Speedway Motorsports' NASCAR renovation plan. That plan is on its way to the city council, the mayor's desk, slowly but surely, hopefully awaiting final approval. The odds of this Cumberland Yard proposal actually coming to fruition are very, very low. They're trying to cut the line and take advantage of this slow, tedious process to pass up Speedway Motorsports and try and take the lead. I don't think it's going to work. I hope it doesn't work, but I live in Texas. I don't live anywhere near the track. The locals ultimately get the loudest voice. Hopefully there's still enough support for racing and the history of that track to get the Speedway Motorsports plan across the finish line. I visited Nashville Fairgrounds last year for the first time ever. Awesome track. I completely get the hype. It would be really cool to see what SMI could do if they get the green light. Anyway, madness on social media the past couple of days. I actually went Black Friday shopping this morning. I stopped by Best Buy, picked up a new TV since I accidentally broke our old one here in the recent move. I was expecting crowds. I was expecting madness. It'd been a few years since I'd been Black Friday shopping, but no, it just felt like a typical Friday afternoon. The real madness has been on social media, going after Cumberland Yard. Goodness gracious. Moving on, let's talk Richard Childress racing. I saw Adam Stern retweeted this article, but Richard Childress recently told V8sleuth.com that he sees Supercars star Brody Kostecki joining RCR full-time at some point in the future. RC said, quote, "He's got the talent. It all boils down to kind of what he wants to do and wherever he wants to go. I know he loves racing in Australia, and he loves racing these cars." Talking about the V8 supercars. Of course, Brody Kostecki got a taste of the NASCAR Cup Series running the Indy Road Course last year in a third RCR prepared entry. Kostecki is 26 years old, and according to Richard Childress, is expected to make up to 5 NASCAR starts in 2024. In this V8 Sleuth article, Childress said he wants Kostecki to run a few road course races and even some ovals if possible. Interesting stuff. Now, unlike fellow supercar star Shane Van Gisbergen, Brody Kostecki does have prior oval racing experience. I didn't remember this until, this past summer when we were talking about him for the first time, but about a decade ago, I think 2013, 2014, when he was just a teenager, Kostecki actually came to America and raced in the K&N Pro Series for a year and a half. So while SVG made his oval debut just this past summer at IRP, Kostecki's got some prior oval experience and prior interest in NASCAR. So we'll see. Is there room for Brody Kostecki at Richard Childress Racing? RCR has 2 charters, 2 spots in the Cup Series, and right now they have 2 seats in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. One of those Xfinity seats is filled by Austin Hill, who is fresh off a 4-win Xfinity Series season. He's won a total of 6 races in the 2 years he's now been with Childress. A little bit older than your typical prospect, but the talent is clearly there. Seems to bring some funding from Bennett, United Rentals, strong relationship with sponsors, and strong results on the racetrack. A lot of talk about Austin Hill maybe going full-time Cup at some point in the near future. Won't be 2024, however. Joining Austin Hill in the Xfinity Series side this next season will be Jesse Love, who, shameless plug, later this weekend you'll hear more from Jesse Love on my podcast Power Hour, so look forward to that. But yeah, 18-year-old Jesse Love is joining RCR fresh off a 10-win ARCA season. So a couple of really talented drivers in the Xfinity Series. On the Cup Series side, there's Kyle Busch, who just won 3 races. I see him staying in the 8 car about as long as he wants to drive the 8 car, which will likely be a few years minimum. He still has that whole plan to race with Brexton in like 7 or 8 years. So I don't think they'll be getting rid of Kyle Busch anytime soon, fingers crossed. So the only spot currently remaining would be the 3, which is currently occupied by Austin Dillon. I want to make one thing clear off the bat. Austin Dillon gets way too much hate. Let's be real for a second. Dude's got a truck title, an Xfinity title. Those have to count for something. I know he's only got 4 wins in Cup, but he's got some big wins on his resume. The Daytona 500, the Coke 600. But the stat that jumps out to me that not enough people give him credit for, he's made the playoffs 5 of the past 8 seasons. That is not a bad percentage, especially considering RCR has never really been considered an A-tier organization, at least not since Kevin Harvick left. So Austin Dillon does get way too much hate, I believe. He's not a scrub. However, that being said, it would be disingenuous of me to sit here and say Austin Dillon is a great driver. He's not. 4 wins in 10 years, that's not great. He's also coming off arguably his worst season ever. Can make some excuses. 60-point penalty early in the year certainly didn't help. Having a new crew chief, Keith Rodden, didn't help either. But there comes a point where excuses only mean so much. I look at Austin Dillon, 33 years old, and I wonder, where can he bring the most value to Richard Childress Racing? Hear me out. Obviously, his grandfather owns the team. His father, Mike Dillon, is a VP at RCR. Austin Dillon was instrumental in recruiting Kyle Busch, bringing him on board. Is it crazy to suggest that Austin Dillon's driving days may come to an end in the next couple of years? He may look internally and take over some sort of leadership role within the team. I don't think it's any secret that's what he aspires to do eventually. That's the path he's on. My question is, should he take a shortcut? Do we have to wait until he's 40, 45 years old, or maybe in the next couple of seasons? Does it make sense for Austin Dillon to step out of the driver's seat, at least full time? Again, my question is right now, where does Austin Dillon bring the most value? He's a good driver. I believe he's slightly underrated, mainly because he gets a ton of hate from fans, at least that I see. But he's not great. He's clearly not as good as Kyle Busch, and with some of these talented young drivers like an Austin Hill and potentially a Brody Kostecki, we really don't know what Brody Kostecki is, at least not in NASCAR. I think this is a fair question to ask. Is driving the 3 car the best use of Austin Dillon's skills at this point? Maybe this sounds harsh. I'm basically telling a veteran driver that he should stop driving. And I'm not telling him to. I'm just posing the question. I don't know what the answer is because, like I just said, I don't really know what Brody Kostecki is. But you heard Richard Childress' comments. He sees a big, bright future for Brody. As long as Jesse Love, Austin Hill, Kyle Busch are around, I don't see a lot of space for him unless Austin Dillon makes a major career move. So I'm just gonna leave it open-ended. I don't know what the right answer is. I want you in the comments to try and help me find the answer. Where do you believe Austin Dillon brings the most value to RCR? Is Brody Kostecki a NASCAR talent? Let me know down in the comment section below. But those were strong comments from Richard Childress. Got my attention. Thanks for watching this video, y'all. That's all I've got. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. While you're down there, again, head to dailydownforce.com/shop. Lots of good stuff available. And a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters as always. I'll be back later this weekend. Again, little teaser, new episode of Power Hour with Jesse Love coming up shortly. Be on the lookout for that. Hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend, folks. I'll catch you again real soon.